Hello and welcome to the Dad and Buried podcast. My name is Mike, also known as Dad and Buried. Somebody today commented on one of my Instagram posts because I referenced them, and they said they feel low-key famous because I mentioned them in one of my posts, and I said, "You realize I'm not even low-key famous."
Are you sure they weren't just feeling really low about themselves because you had reached out to them? Maybe that was...
Or they were just mocking me and themselves. Either thing is probably more true than me being famous or anybody I touch being. I mean, look, if I were famous at all, then you would be famous, and you're certainly not famous. Sorry, Pete.
Nope, definitely not. Unless you're into horticulture.
Well,
if you
I
are,
am, and I still have an interview. So,
okay. Well, I'm working my way up. It's a tough field. Okay,
well,
just leave me alone.
You should get on social media and you should start a blog like I did. And that's why I'm known around the world as Dad and Buried, because of my blog and my Instagram, my Facebook, and my Twitter. And that's why you're not known, because nobody knows you have a green thumb because you're not promoting yourself.
Well, you know what? TikTok wasn't around when I started. So now it is. Watch out.
I haven't TikToked in probably more than a week.
No chapstick?
I have plenty of chapstick. Believe me, I am well stocked up with chapstick. I just haven't TikToked. So as always, we are back here tonight to talk about things we hate about parenting, and sometimes once in a while stuff we kind of sort of don't hate.
Little creeps in a little bit.
So the topic this week was, I asked everybody what their favorite and least favorite ages are. And one thing I think we'll notice is that most of my followers who respond to this stuff and our listeners have kids on the younger side. So while there is some mention of teenagers and older, most of it is centered around babies and toddlers and younger kids, which is fine because that's what I have my experience with. You have slightly older, at least one slightly older kid that you'll be able to speak to a little bit if she even comes up. Maybe she's just so mediocre she's not a favorite or a least favorite.
But it makes sense. I mean, listen, if you have older kids, you've forgotten about it all at this point, and you're too busy drinking the day away to care about anything or to listen to any podcasts about people whining about their.
This is what happens kids. When someone has kids in their first marriage and then they get divorced and then they get married again. Then they forget we want to have a baby, or maybe their spouse is a little younger and the older parent forgets what it was like to have a young kid, and then suddenly you're trapped and you got a baby. And
you're that's what it's like. Yes. Oh, right. Yeah, I totally remember now.
So we did get a fair amount of comments bitching, which we love, and even some positive stuff, which, I'm a little bit less comfortable with, but I'm learning how to roll with it.
Yeah.
As always, if we use your comment, we will mention you. And at the beginning of the show, which we're about to do right now, we like to talk up the people who have supported us on Anchor and Patreon, giving us a little bit of money so we can keep doing this, especially during the quarantine, since we can't be together in person. Our tech costs are they're blowing up through the roof. My wardrobe, as you can see with my hoodie,
we spent all of that. We spent all of it on that hoodie. It's homeless chic, I think is what we're calling
You know what? People like to call me I have a Jedi look, and I appreciate that. It doesn't bother me at all.
What people? Your son?
You know what? I would take it. So as always, we want to start off with thanking our supporters. We got Ryan Millen and MS Babayan on Anchor. Thank you very much. And the single dad tier of Patreon, we got Check Your Kids at the Door, Chris Coleman, M. Cedeno 1980, Mallory McKenzie, Miriam, and Tina Davis. The dad bod tier, my dad bod is kicking. I said last week that it was kicking. It is. Just the upward trajectory of this, or the rounding out of I'm not flattening the curve. I'm expanding the curve of my dad bod. On that tier, we got Lindsay Woodruff, Andrea Sandoval, Barbara Geiger, Bill D'Amica, Dana Bosday, Jacques Govar, and Morning Glow. I can't believe how many people give us money. In the father figure tier, we got brand new Patreon, Cotton Farmer AZ. We'll hear from him or her. I'm honestly not sure, as usual, a little bit later. Wes Clark, Jennifer Wynn, my old friend Julie McCarthy, Paula Polsky, who I did a quick video on IGTV about how much Easter candy sucks, and he was offended by it. He told me he's less offended by my takes on parenting and more offended by my takes on candy. And on the World's Greatest Dad tier, we got Mary Williams and Julie Burton, she commented, and she has a teenager and a tweenager. And guess what? She prefers 4-year-olds. So there you go. A little insight into that one. Yeah. We're going to get into that topic in a minute after a quick, you have any interesting anecdotes from your life under quarantine over the past week?
Not the past. Well, the past week has been a blur, as it has for most people. But why don't we pick this up when we come back?
Why don't we, Pete? You know what?
All right.
Way to keep the show rolling.
All right, we'll see you right after this.
So I did want to kick off before we get into favorite and least favorite ages. I did want to ask you a serious question because I can see you on video. Not everybody's going to watch this on YouTube, but we record these over Skype so that we can look into each other's eyes as we're used to doing when we're actually in the studio. And what I can see is whereas my hair is getting unruly, increasingly unruly and long, yours looks exactly the same. Very, professionally coiffed almost. And I'm going to ask, are you getting your haircut in-house somehow?
No, I found an underground haircutting ring.
Wow.
It's very
like
hush
Harriet
hush.
Tubman.
No. Yeah, just like Harriet Tubman. That's right.
The underground barber.
I don't know if you remember this, but it turns out that I've been living my life sort of in anticipation of a pandemic since the very beginning, because I cut my own hair. So for me, nothing changes, Mike. You
I
see
regret that I've asked the question.
Yep. I'm like Jerry. I'm like always
cut
even.
Your own
nothing
hair.
happens. Yeah. So I cut my own hair.
How do you do that? You have like a flow bee, I assume.
I hook it up to the vacuum. There's a lot of screaming.
Yeah.
a little bit of blood. And a lot of just anger coming out from the bathroom. Yeah.
So not only have I not gotten my hair cut, nor will I be getting my hair cut anytime soon, and I'll be damned if anybody in my family is going near my head with scissors or anything. I also I shaved at the very beginning of March, I think on March 1st, because I hadn't shaved. And I had a beard for a few months, and now it's back. And
now it's back.
Mom and Buried is not happy with either. my head hair, or my face hair. But what are you gonna do? So tonight, you may realize if you're watching a video, I'm in the bedroom, and usually I'm in my living room. And part of the reason that I'm in the bedroom instead of the living room is because Mama Berry and I had a rough bedtime routine. Trying to put the kids down, we both need to decompress a little bit. Mama Berry is finishing watching what she was watching, and I'm like, you know what? Let's ease up. I'm gonna go into the bedroom and I'll do the podcast from there. And what is happening is we've talked about sibling rivalry before, but the sibling rivalry is going through the roof. And the main offender is my 9-year-old, and he complains that the 4-year-old gets away with everything, and a little bit.
Little bit he does.
The 4-year-old is becoming a little bit more problematic for sure, but he's very cute.
That's the thing is he's playing that card every 5 minutes. That cute card. Wasn't me, he says as he writes crayon on the wall. I don't know. Does he have a catchphrase? Does he have a catchphrage that he delivers every day?
He's been saying
ooga wooga. Yeah.
It actually is ooga wooga. Very good. He's a caveman.
Yep.
Actually, lately he gets this from his brother, and his brother gets it from whatever insidious YouTube program he watches, where he'll just go, really? Or I'll say something to go, really? It's very cute. It really just adds to his arsenal of tricks. But I was thinking of that. I was going through the responses people sent, what their favorite ages and their least favorite ages are. And there's a lot of toddler, preschooler. They're very cute. They're not as problematic yet.
Right.
And I definitely think and I've said this before, I got in some trouble saying stuff like this on my Instagram page, or on I went on Scary Mommy's Instagram page. Somebody got mad at me because I talked about how babies weren't really hard. They're just inconvenient. And it doesn't really start to get hard until the kids are real people and they start to have personalities and stuff. And I think that starts to happen like 5, 6, 7 is when they really start to become people instead of just little moppets.
Right.
Your mileage may vary a little bit, but my 4-year-old is still kind of in the sweet spot of coasting by on his charm.
Yeah. No, my 5-year-old is definitely there. He's throwing the cute card every now and again. Wait, also, what? He says every day. Wait, what? Wait, what? Dad, what? Every 5 minutes.
It makes a difference when you've got the young kid in the house with older kids, and you have the distinct comparison that you can look for one who is talking back or causing problems in some more real way, and then the little kid is just doing goofy toddler stuff, and you're just like, oh.
And when he speaks earnestly, Dad, did you know
Yes.
that Rockdivore, like, and he just the earnestness in his eyes of, do you know that Rockdivore? And I don't even know if I'm saying it.
What
It's
is
a Pokemon.
Rockdivore?
It's like a Pokemon guy, or I'm probably getting,
Oh,
I'm
you let
probably
Pokemon into your
massacring.
house.
Yeah, but he'll just with such he is a Firestone, and he can transform into a different. And you're like, okay, dude, that's amazing.
I don't
He's like,
give a
yeah,
shit, man.
it can. And you're like, wow, amazing. Like he's just like unveiled like the truth of the out there, just like 5G is causing this COVID.
5G, is that what people are saying?
Yeah, at least that's what my 5-year-old told me.
There was a video years ago that went a little bit viral of my son holding up a cell phone, like a smartphone, and babbling into it when he was like 1.5. And a bunch of the YouTube comments, because YouTube comments are the worst of the worst comments, were like, your son is
except for our listeners, of course, yeah.
Yes, obviously. But your son is getting radiation from the cell phone. He's getting brain cancer, all this stuff. It was great. Now, my kid, obviously, he's grown a third eye on the side of his head.
Yeah.
But that's
I
just
mean,
a
look,
coincidence.
It's completely coincidental, that third eye. But he honestly is very hyper aware. I got to be honest with you. You can't sneak up on that guy. He's got it. He's aware of his entire surroundings.
If you've never seen the video, if you want to see it, you can go to YouTube and look for Baby on Cell. It's very cute. Because babies are cute. Even though I don't think I would say babies are my favorite.
We've really spent a lot of time saying that babies are really a pain in the butt. So
this is what's interesting, but I'm looking at the document and it starts with favorite age being babies. And what's good about our listeners is they mitigate that stance immediately. So Beverly Williams .399 says babies are her favorite stage because babies don't talk. Felicia FALISHAJ Felicia J13 says baby so much easier when they can't talk. For Parker Lane says under 1 year old they don't talk or walk and they're very cute. See, this is it. They're low maintenance, even though the stuff you have to do, like the diaper stuff and the feeding and stuff. Again, that's just inconvenient, pain in the ass stuff. It's not hard.
I don't know. I would even qualify it. It's the after that first month when you've kind of found your rhythm, the new one is settled in, whether it's your first or second or whatever, and then between 1 month and I would say 5 months where they're not really talking, they're just that is a sweet spot for sure. Yeah. But then when the grabbing starts and like they become self-realized, you're just like, God damn it. This kid's now yeah.
Why did I do this?
Yeah, what is going on? They're crawling everywhere. No, don't put that poop in your mouth. That's
come on,
God,
man.
Damn.
My kid
That's what happened. That happened. My middle daughter grabbed poop and put it in her mouth. Yeah.
Oh my God, was it your poop?
It was not. Luckily, it happened to not.
Had a few IPAs the night before.
Yeah, exactly.
My kid ate a penny once, and then I had to sift through his diaper for a few days until I found it to make sure it didn't stay in his stomach, because the copper can cause problems, even though that's really rare. I think my doctor was punking me to make me do that. Alish Allies 13 says 0 to 3 months old is the best when you have maternity leave and can fucking nap when the baby naps. So people telling you to nap when the baby naps are those like well-meaning people online that are idiots and don't realize that you have other things to do, like clean the house, and maybe you have errands to run and jobs to do. You can't necessarily nap when the baby naps, but maternity leave must be pretty nice. I didn't have maternity leave. I had 5 days off because my bosses were cool. Did you have paternity?
Yeah, I had paternity.
Look at you.
Yeah, look at me. But wait, let's go back to napping when the baby naps. Like, why can't the baby outside of feeding and changing in that young age, they're just gonna sit, like they're not doing anything. So you can clean
but
them.
that doesn't mean the mom or the parent doesn't have a life and things to do, and they sometimes I know you like to have those couple of hours to yourself when you're not latched to the baby. But I think the bigger issue is baby nap. You nap when the baby naps is one thing. Trying to nap when like the toddler naps is a little bit different, because as the kid's older, they're clinging to you the entire time. You can't just like put them in a bassinet and walk away and they're going to coo. You're basically on them at all times. So if you're trying to like do anything, you can't until they're asleep. And that's your time to kind of clean the house or do whatever moms do. You know, they're barefoot and pregnant. I don't know. Okay.
Pro tip, get rid of napping altogether. Don't you, not the kid, you. Why are you napping? Why is the parent shouldn't be napping? Why?
Well,
because the inertia, here's why. Because the inertia of having to get up after a nap is so, first of all, you're going to only wake up to screaming or crying of some kind. And it's not a pleasant way to re-enter your day. And meanwhile, that time is much better. Here's what you do. Here's what you put the baby in the stroller, you're walking around. This was back, of course, pre COVID stuff, pre-quarantine. And you'd be, here's a nice bar. And they'd be like, sir, it's 8 a.m. It's 8 a.m. And you're like, I don't give a shit. Open your door. And you're like, I don't know. And you're like, open the door. I need my alcohol. That's what you do.
This is 8 a.m. So I don't like napping because, like you said, I don't like waking up from a nap. I always feel gross. But when you have a newborn, odds are you're not sleeping through the night because they're up every 2-3 hours to feed. So you might need to nap. But look, I'm not going to judge anybody for napping or not napping. Why don't you relax a little bit, Pete?
I don't know. I can't relax. Not anymore.
So Becca for Real says the major upside of babies under 7 months is that they don't move from where you put them, and they are super portable. You can pretty much take them anywhere, like a bar, which is what we used to do with our oldest. After that age, they want to be on the move, and you have to constantly chase them, let them down, pick them up. The pre-mobile age is great. It's one of the things Jess_Bennett196 says. They don't talk back, and they are immobile. And that is definitely a plus. Things get a lot more stressful. Having a baby, especially if it's your first baby, can be pretty stressful because you don't know necessarily what you're doing. But once the kid can move, things get a lot more difficult.
Yeah. It's funny because you're like, oh, we did it. We made it out. We brought our kid home. We're the best parents ever. And you're like 4 months in, you're like, dude, we got this. And then like, oh, they're moving. Then they crawl. Oh my God.
Every time you get used to a stage, every time you get used to a phase, it changes and it gets hard again. TK6927 says newborns just eat and sleep. It's easy till they start to move, and then it's all downhill. And that is actual fact. It is all downhill. Every age is worse. Let's be honest.
Yeah. TK6927 is actually a scientist. So
Melanie Vineyard says those first 2 weeks are the best stage. She doesn't say, and then it's all downhill, but it's implied. It's implied. James Larson 470 says, I'm a father of 3 girls, an 8-year-old, a 6-year-old, and a 4-month-old. And he says, I prefer the baby. See?
Yeah.
Babies are easier. They're not necessarily better. I think they're just easier.
Yeah, I think, I can certainly tell as a father of 3, as I was saying before in an earlier episode, like I get to appreciate my youngest much more than I did the first 2, because the first one, it's just like beaches and Normandy. You have no idea what's happening. The second one, I don't know what the equivalent of beaches and Normandy is, but it's like that somewhere else.
Me neither, man.
And then the fourth one, it's kind of like, oh, okay, this is not so big a deal.
So I wanted to start the whole thing with this and I forgot. So D Lake Nestor says every age is terrible and great in one way or another. You can't really win. And that's what we're talking about, right? So there's pros and cons to every age. So babies, they're boring and they're inconvenient and they don't sleep through the night, and you got to carry them around everywhere and all that stuff, but they're cute and they're easy and there's not a lot to do. And then toddlers are really cute and they have a little bit of personality and they're fun, but they're like running into traffic and they're really stressful, right? So all that stuff happens. So the way we broke up this episode is we wanted to talk about each stage. So the baby stage, we just gave you some of the benefits or why people like it. And then we have some people chiming in with why they don't like it, which you've probably heard before every single time you tune into this podcast. Half an Acre says people who say they like the newborn phase are fucking liars.
So shots fired.
Shots fired. It's _Kate_ again says mine are only 4, but babies sucked the worst. Mandy Manibular, perhaps, says I hated ages 10 months to 15 months, so it's slightly older baby. I found it to be frustrating with teething, and they're super fucking clingy. The teething, once they start teething, that doesn't stop for like a year and a half. Yeah. That sucks. And God forbid you have a colicky baby.
Yeah, a colic is.
We had a mild case of colic with the hammer for a little while, and that was just like from like 6 p.m. to like 11 p.m. just screaming.
Yeah.
Nothing you can do.
It's brutal.
Tully Phillips says babies are the worst from 1 to 3. Lots of whining, and they need supervision. That's one of the drawbacks with kids in general. They need a lot of supervision. I'm just trying to live my life.
I'm with Tully Phillips. The 1 to 3 is really, it is such the amount of energy that needs to go in. That is where parenting is like crystalline, because you're so tired And I'm just thinking of like any type of trip you've been on, or like
Yeah.
the kid can't speak properly, or they can't speak yet. All they can do is just grab things, anything that's shiny. Their attention span is 3 seconds. It's 3 seconds. You have all these toys. You need 4 billion toys just to entertain these kids.
And I still have all those toys.
Yeah, well, there you go. And they're around. Yeah, exactly.
My brother has 2 kids under 2 right now. They're not even twins.
What did he do?
Made a huge mistake.
Yeah.
So one will be 2 at the end of May, Memorial Day weekend, I believe.
Wow.
And then the other one will be like 4 or 5 months at that point. So yeah, I can't imagine.
Did he find himself just really getting along with his wife, and he's like, you know what?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it.
So it's funny because they're obviously stuck inside with the baby right now. And HCT 13 says effing babies are the worst. Even worse is a freaking baby during quarantine.
Oh,
imagine having 2. Because my brother essentially has 2. I mean, sure, the older one's a toddler, but close enough.
Well, but not only that, but I mean, think about, at least for me, the walking and the putting the kid in the stroller. Yeah. I mean, the walking motion was like half the battle for just getting.
You can do that still. You just got to socially distance. They live in the suburbs.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Right. So they can like go down the sidewalk and they're not going to see anybody for a long time.
Yeah.
Magda Yang said the newborn stage made me wish I never had kids. But once you get through that gauntlet, she says she's loved from 18 months up. The little known fact is her child is now 19 months. So she's had a month of fun. Get back on. Get back to me in a couple more months, Magda Yang. Honestly, I don't know how old her kid is. I'd be curious to know. Give me a shout, Magda Yang. So then we're going to move into toddlers, which we started to get into with 1 and 3. And I have a 4-year-old. I don't know if that's still considered a toddler. I still consider him a toddler.
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
You do?
Yeah.
I think the next one will be preschooler.
Well, yeah, that's it.
Which is 5-year-old, isn't it?
No, well,
5-year-old's kindergarten.
Kindergarten, yeah. So
it's because of where his birthday falls.
Yeah. Exactly. 4 is preschool. I mean, it just depends on what your kids.
I call him a toddler because calling him a preschooler is annoying. How about
there you
that?
Go.
Little Charmer 80 says her favorite age is a very difficult question. At the moment, her least favorite age is 2.5. Constant tantrums about everything. Yep. They don't understand enough for you to reason with them about anything. They're not potty trained, but they're far too big and heavy to lift up to a change table. It depends. Maybe your baby's a little portly. They're very loud and messy. And she says, I guess my favorite age is 6, as my eldest just turned 6. So I guess this isn't a toddler. This is elementary school. She will chill and watch a whole film.
Yep.
We can sit down and do activities like Legos or whatever. I mean, she can be a huge dick as well, but it's nothing like a 2-year-old having a rage-filled tantrum for no reason. I agree with that. The tantrums from toddlers, especially like age 2 and 3, can be really tough.
Yep. The 1 to 3 is brutal. Once you can, ask them to do something and they are able to do it, like, can you,
yes,
go bring your shirt on, or can you put your shoes on, or whatever? I don't know. Maybe that's a little advanced, but just being able to communicate with them, it really changes things. And I think for me, I like that stage, and I like them as they get older. But yeah,
love the ability to order the toddler.
Yeah. Yes. I love that ability. I love the ability to give orders and then have them look blankly at me and then just do whatever they want to do.
So not _still_ says she loves toddlers. They're cranky but compliant, which is what you were saying.
Yeah. I don't know about that.
You can offer them chores that we talked about last week. You can offer them chores and they're so excited to like help and like, I'm a big boy, I'm going to help, that they'll do it. And they won't do it well, but they'll do it. And you can tell them to do stuff that normally a kid would not want to do, but they don't know any better yet.
Yep.
Chandelice says she currently has a 1-year-old boy, a 5-year-old boy, and a 15-year-old girl. Her daughter was the easiest to parent up until becoming a tween, but that also coincided with adding her brother to the mix. See, that's got to be hard, 2 at once, a tween and a baby. My favorite age for her, though, was 4, funny, inquisitive, engaged, and overall just pleasant. My middle one hasn't gotten to an age I enjoy yet. It's lots of yelling and boundary testing. So that's what I have. I have a 4 and a 9, right? So the 4 is definitely cute, and he can talk, but mine's a little speech delayed. But even I remember when my eldest was 4, the stuff that they don't always say the right thing, but it's very cute, and their voice and the things they say, like you said, when they get earnest, it's very cute. He says, I loved my youngest anytime before he was mobile. There you go. That's one of the drawbacks of toddlers. Yep. And then she mentions a lockdown. She said trying to work from home during the lockdown is hard since he's constantly on the go, which is the challenge with toddlers. They like to be snuggly and be next to you and stuff. But that can be tough when you're stuck in the house and you have things to do, like work from home during a quarantine.
Yeah. I mean, you can't give a toddler, like, their attention span is 18 seconds. I mean, it's like they're screaming for something that you give them, and then 2 minutes later it's done. It's over.
You can give that thing to them and they forget that that's what they want.
And then they're off to the next one. Or that sparks a massive uproar because your now 12-year-old's like, wait, that's my favorite toy that I haven't played with in 10 years, and now I want it because you've given it to someone else. And you're like, okay, I'm out. I'm gonna go. I'm just out.
Dude, that's exactly what's happening in my house lately. If, God forbid, my toddler touches anything that my 9-year-old thinks is his, it doesn't even matter what it is. It's a pacifier that he hasn't used in 10 years. It will literally fucking go berserk. So I think this is funny. So about the attention span thing, Wilson McMillan says his favorite is the sweet spot during the 3rd year where they don't test their limits and they start liking TV.
Yes.
Once you can distract them with screen time, you don't worry about the attention span. They'll be stuck to that thing for 8 hours.
I think that really I think that's what the main draw for parents and screen time is that transition from 1 to 3 to like the toddler. So just being able, once your kid, they're not really able to focus, even on screens, they're not able to focus on screens. No. Like, you can give them the show, but they won't understand or know what's going on. 2, and then 3, they can start to lock in. They can Doc McStuffins, like, boom, I'm in, right? Like,
never watched
I'm
that.
There. But then you spend the rest of your parenting, your parenting time just trying to get them off the thing because you've made a huge mistake and now they're totally addicted and you can't.
At the beginning, you're trying to desperately get some space between you and the kid,
right?
So that you lean on the screen time, and then you realize screen time is their daddy now, and you can't get them off of that. But that's one of the things that people like about toddlers is the snuggliness. Marianne 02360 says her favorite age is 4. They can be somewhat reasoned with, but they're still snuggly.
Yeah. My 5-year-old is absolutely a class A machine when it comes to snuggling. My wife, millimeter. my wife more. Yeah, nice. Snuggles my wife more than he snuggles me, but he really will go out of his way to snuggle. Yeah.
Fern's photography says she likes preschoolers because you can still trick them into things like chores.
Yep.
They're easily persuaded. Then she says that teens are just like preschoolers, but they can drive away. So it's hard to get a handle on the teens. Shamarette says 2 was good, 3 to 4 was the worst. So we're getting into why people maybe don't like toddlers. She said my 5-year-old is pretty great right now. 5-year-olds have enough independence to function, but not much horrible attitude or sass yet. I don't see that happening with my kid's 4. He's already getting the sass because he sees his older brother.
Well, he's learned from the best.
There you go.
He's gone to like the Navy SEAL training of sass.
Are you complimenting me or are you mocking me?
Well, I'm complimenting your son for teaching your other son so well.
My kid, my 9-year-old, all of his jokes are just insults. And then afterwards, when I get upset, he's like, I was joking.
Yeah. He's an insult comic. You've raised an insult comic.
He's Don Rickles.
Yeah.
So what's funny, Lacey Moore says that her favorite age right now is 2 to 3 and under. And she says she's hopeful for the high school age, but she's been burned before. 11 is not great. You have an 11, or you had an 11-year-old.
Yeah, I have a 12-year-old now. It's a minefield. It has been, yeah.
We're going to get into the older kids in a bit. Yeah, first, let's trash the toddlers, right? So here's the reasons people don't like toddlers. Gina L. Carraz says, I used to think newborn was the hardest until my newborn turned into a 2.5-year-old. First 4 to 5 months were easy. 2.5 is hard AF.
Oh, yeah.
Dag Z1, that's Dag with 2 G's. This is a dad. He said, I'm only into toddler experience for the first time. The demands are not just physiological, but now regimen is far more psychologically challenging.
Right.
They push the boundaries. They push your buttons.
Yeah. Oh, timeouts. Oh, all right, you're gonna get a time. I'm gonna count to 3, and then they're just standing there. All right, it's 3. Now what? Yeah. And you're like, God, don't
don't
call my bluff. Whatever you do.
Aaron Colopy, Colopy, says the sweet spot when they're old enough to be a happy, sweet baby, but not old enough to really get into shit yet. She says it's like 2 weeks until 5 months, and then all hell breaks loose. So she doesn't sound like she's a fan of the toddler age because they get into everything. That's just their job. They just don't understand that they shouldn't drink poison from under the sink.
I think it's also, this, because it's reminding me of an earlier comment where, just different, the kids were different at different ages. And it's like our other episode, we were talking about different personalities. My son is he's a boy. I have 2 daughters and my son is the youngest, and they're each so different from each other. And they were so different at those ages. Right. And it's hard to tell kind of who's learned what from whom, or how much of their own personality is really part of it. But it's amazing because some of this stuff I'm like, I really liked when my older daughter was this age, but not my middle.
Yeah, it's funny. It's not all about the age range. There's a lot of circumstances and different factors.
Yeah.
Cactus Bloom with 2K says toddlers are cute, but constantly trying to kill themselves, and it's so tiring. And that's true.
They have one wish, and that is a death wish. That is to end their own lives by going downstairs. Traffic, as you mentioned, any kind of electricity.
Social worker Sweetie says, I'm in the thick of 3 preschoolers, and I contemplate jumping out of the window daily. So I don't think she likes them.
Yeah, no. It's 3 preschoolers. Wow.
So I have a 9-year-old and a 4-year-old. So I guess that's a preschooler and an elementary school kid. And I can speak, and you have an elementary school kid, and kind of the same thing. So almost 2 elementary school kids. So Lotta McVicklin says she loves elementary schoolers. They're less angry than 2 to 6-year-olds. They're fun to talk to, eager to learn stuff, and most of all, they can actually do shit for and by themselves, like get to school, clean their room, make breakfast. Not in my house. And they are starting to really grasp the concept of money, so you can pay them to do stuff around the house. I hope she listened last week. Not a lot of allowance action in the chore situation, but I don't know how old her elementary schoolers are, because my 9-year-old isn't doing much of that stuff.
No, I'm with her. I think the elementary school age is when they're starting to become, they definitely, the personalities are really starting to come out. Whether your kid's serious or not, or funny or whatever. Yeah, but you definitely are able to interact with them more, but they're still they've got that kid vibe going, like they still love cartoons and stuffies and snuggles and stuff like that, but
they haven't turned the corner. Yeah,
and also you can do things with them, like ride a bike, go swimming, ice skating. It's nothing. Just imagine going ice skating with a 3-year-old. Just imagine it is the absolute worst thing. And if you are a parent and you are at any point thinking once this is all over, you're going to go ice skating, don't do it. Don't do it. It's a nightmare.
I would agree with that. I don't think any of the things you mentioned sound fun. They're less horrible as the kid gets older.
Yeah.
They're still not fun.
Well, no, riding a bike is fun with your kids. Isn't it?
Softly Stated says 5 to 7-year-olds throw less tantrums than the younger kids, and they're less stressful than the older kids, which is a good way of putting it.
Yeah.
Allison Micheline says so far ages 6 to 7 has been easiest, as they can use their brains to figure shit out.
There you go. Figure it out. That's a phrase that kind of I like to use a lot. It's like, Dad, I don't know what should I do with the dishes? What do you mean? Is it clean or is it dirty? It's like,
exactly.
If it's clean, put it away. If it's dirty, then put it in the sink. Come on.
It's amazing what they can't figure out. Mrs. Kristen Conley says, I hate the newborn stage. Right before babies start crawling is prime baby time. Age 4 is fun, but age 7 to 8 has been great.
Yes.
So she loves elementary school. She is dreading the teenage years. Liv 1977-35 says 7 is great. They can microwave their own food, but they don't have the preteen attitude yet. I have plenty of attitude in my house.
There's no short supply of that, and that's been for a while now. And what's interesting at the preteen stage is that I'm actually finding more in common than at earlier stages, at least with my older kid. So
is preteen what they now call tween?
Yeah, like 11, 12.
So 9 is not a tween? Is my son a tween?
I would say no. I would say 9,
10 to 12.
10, 11, 12. Yeah.
All right. So HT Cheetah says ages 8 to 11 are her favorite. So she says tweens, I guess. Older and independent, but fun and still want their parents, which is what you mentioned a little bit earlier.
Yep.
But then there's some people that don't like elementary school kids, like Jules, JEWLZ 1108. I have a 4 and a 12-year-old. This is one of my favorite comments. This age is the worst. These ages are the worst. The 4-year-old swears she knows everything, and my 12-year-old only makes sound effects when I talk to her. She's like Michael Winslow from the Police Academy movies. I want to know what kind of sound effects. I don't know if it's like derp or like rude stuff, or if you just like, here's the sound of a door opening.
Like steps, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, nice.
That's what I want to know. So Jules Z 1108, give me some info on that. Daniel M. Potter says I have an 11-year-old and a 9-year-old, and I miss when they were about 4 months old. They napped a lot. So it doesn't sound like he likes the 11 and 9-year-old stage. And Alexandra Overgaard says the worst age is whenever they start to get opinions, which is probably like 7. I mean, they have dumb opinions, but like when they really start to like push back and maybe not want to do what you want to do in a way that's beyond tantrums, it's probably like 6, 7.
Yeah. Yep.
You agree? Look at
you.
I
agree with you. For once, I figure it's time.
So as I said earlier, we don't have a ton of parents with older kids, but we did have a handful that were talking about kind of the tween and upstage. And what's funny is, so we did a teenager episode, and the general rap is that teens are the worst. But there were a lot of positive comments about teens, and it happened again, right? So Quiet and Mean, which is a good name, Quiet and Mean says, I have a teen and a tween, and I got to say, it's so much easier once they can get their own food. A lot of people said that. You know, they can figure stuff out for themselves. They can microwave their own food. They can make breakfast. Once you have less to do, life gets easier.
I don't know what it is. I mean, this is sort of what has sparked some of our topics about, now parenting now versus when we were parented and whatnot. But I think, to me, there's just seems to be, it doesn't seem to be so like us and them.
It's
by the
less
time
of
they
like
get
a generation gap.
Yeah, it
we're
feels
less mature. Yeah,
I think so. I think that's probably it. But I don't know whether it's has to do with technology or social media or whatever it is. But there seems to be something that's a little bit more connected between, like, I feel more connected with my 12-year-old at this age than I ever felt with my parents at 12.
It's because childhood lasts longer, and there's more common ground in terms of the stuff that we all do, I think.
What do you when you say childhood, like, you mean that we are children well into our 20s, and so we're feeling that like we can it wasn't, I mean, it was a long time ago, but it wasn't that long ago that we can recall that kind of information. Is that what you're saying?
Sort of, yeah. But I mean, just like it's not like kids. It's not like you need at 15 you need to get a job or you're potentially going to get drafted or anything like that, right? Like life is just a little bit more casual for a longer period of time. I mean, obviously not for everybody, but and like 35-year-olds, I mean, I feel like I look 18. I feel probably 15.
Well, you sound 8, so I think that's the big takeaway.
Look, I'm not a scientist. I'm not a sociologist. I am right
you're
about
not?
this, but no, I'm not.
Oh God.
So OG Brenna, who's a friend of mine, another friend who I worked with back around the year 2000, which used to seem like the future. I can't believe it's 20 years ago. Says my 12-year-old brings me coffee in bed.
That's what I'm talking about.
She said when we did the things you like most about parenting for April Fool's Day, she said that when she goes and wakes up her 12-year-old, she still reaches for a hug. Sounds like a nice 12-year-old.
Okay, OG Brenna, we get it. You have an ideal life. Yeah, exactly. Stop like showboating over here. But no, but I do like I really do enjoy the independent thought and then being able to kind of bring in new ideas and just like, hey, it's cool. Like well, believe me, right now my 12-year-old's doing SketchUp. Literally right now, my 12-year-old's on SketchUp redesigning her room.
What is
so SketchUp? We'll see how that goes. It's like a 3D program.
Oh, is it like Scustard?
No, and no one knows what that is, and don't ever go there.
It's an amazing joke.
It's good. Okay. I don't think so.
So Sarah Rualo says, I love babies to 5-year-olds, but it's much easier when they become teens.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't have a teen yet. My 9-year-old might as well be a teen. I do not foresee him being easier at a teenager.
I guarantee you you're going to be able to, because all your interest will start to level off. So if you're not into Minecraft or you're not into Zelda,
Yeah, that's true.
By the way, get into Zelda. Like that's
Yeah.
what I'm playing with all my kids. It's the best. I've just started it. It's awesome.
But you got the Switch, right?
Yeah, I get the Switch. So, but yeah, I mean, I think once your interests kind of become more aligned, or at least, first of all, your kid, before you know, is going to start talking about social media, and you're going to be like, hold on, Sonny, let me tell you a thing or two about how to get
run social media.
Yeah. Let me tell you how to troll people. This is how you troll people. You call that a troll?
Cotton Farmer AZ says he prefers, or she, again, don't know, new patron, says the age where they can get their own shit and make their own food. And I think that is the theme of this entire thing. The less needy and clingy they are, the ideal sweet spot is when they're like cuddly, but don't have attitude and can be independent. And then when they get older and they're so independent that they can just leave you alone and they're out of the house. Somebody said the best age is when they move out. Over 20, Country Girl 1958, over 20 because they were out of your house.
Yeah. No, I remember not too long ago, we were a group of us from work were at a restaurant, and we looked over, and it was lunchtime, and there's this little, probably like a 5-year-old or 4-year-old little girl, really cute, with her dad just sitting there coloring, and all of us were like, that is absolutely adorable and incredibly cute. And then we were all immediately reminded that she was probably going to have a huge tantrum that night, and we didn't want anything to do with that. And and it's just, there's like those little moments of like, those little snapshots that you see sometimes, and you're like, oh, what a cutie. Well, and then your reality comes crashing down.
It goes back to what D. Lake Nestor said earlier, that every age is terrible and great in one way or another, right? So there's pros and cons to every single age. So, but there are a handful of people who, like me, don't think any age is the best age. Mary Babayan, one of our patrons, says pre-birth was her favorite age. Lil Mommy Wendy says no favorite age. They're all terrible. DQ_0131 said, is there an age we're supposed to like? Funky Fee, one of our old school listeners and our patron says, I always hope for the next age to get better, but we're not there yet. I hope we'll be teens. I didn't like ages 0 through 7 so far. 7 years of just nope, none of those.
Yeah.
AKM Prel 1011 says, babies take your sleep and toddlers take your sanity. Middle schoolers think they know everything and insist that the dab and flossing are dance moves. Your daughter's a dancer. Does she dab and floss?
No, I mean, not anymore. Because
what's the floss? The floss is like
you move
like
the
your
hips.
skiing.
Yeah, kind of. I guess that's one thing, but that's one way to describe it.
I'm not a dancer, Pete.
You have the body of a dancer.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
A lot of cocaine.
Yeah.
So KML 218 says, what age do they move out? That's her favorite age.
That's great.
And then so I made a snide remark when I asked the question, what's your favorite age? And I was like running through the ages, like babies, toddlers, tweens, teens, college kids. And then I said, you can't say college kids. That's bullshit. And somebody said, actually, college kids, DJ Hudak says college kids are not easier. They think they know everything and they still want you to pay for everything. TR Zabala says freshman undergrads after philosophy and ethics 101 are annoying. Literally just told a 17-year-old girl good luck with her revolution against the patriarchy and imperialism by telling people not to vote. So see, this is the thing. Independent thought can come back and bite you in the ass, especially when it's just you're just learning stuff and you're just all on fire with these dumb ideas. You don't realize that's not how reality works. Grow up, become a Republican, and then talk to me then, okay? Texas Margaret says the 20s can be so hard because you can't protect them and the bad can be really bad. Now that's depressing.
That is.
And
depressing.
It's why my parents still stay awake. Like when I go out to dinner, if I'm visiting home and I go out to dinner with my wife and we get home at like 1 a.m., my parents will still be up waiting for us because that worry never goes away.
Can I just ask a quick question?
Yeah.
What the hell are you doing out in Connecticut until 1 a.m.? Is there a place open that late, or are you sitting at the end? Are you sitting at the end of the block just idling from
First of all,
10:30.
My family lives right outside of New Haven, and we're rocking downtown scene. Second of all, I was lying to sound cooler, and now you're calling me out. We get home like 11:30. What are you talking about? And then Just Jules 91780 says college kids are not easy, debilitating stress and depression. Again, I don't want to hear this. I wasn't depressed during college, but that's a bigger deal, I think, for kids these days. I think because of social media. What they should do is start a podcast.
Mike, I just realized that you've blown it this entire episode. Why? Why have you blown it?
Why?
Do you know what has happened? We didn't even open the episode with this. We hit the milestone that we've been talking about. How the hell did we not bring this up at the beginning? We forgot. And so not only literally the phrase debilitating stress and depression just immediately popped into my head. You playing the clarinet.
About a recorder. I don't have my clarinet. It has to be recorded.
I know. Okay. So how do you not have the recorder ready? People are going to be pissed. I'm pissed.
My son is on quarantine and remote schooling, and the music teacher was like, fuck that. I'm not doing that. So he basically canceled recorder lessons. So my son has his recorder, but for 2 weeks, it's not been around because my toddler found it and has been grabbing it and using it. So we hid it, and now I don't know where it is. I promise what I'm going to do, I don't want to subject people. I guess I will next time, but I don't want to subject people to what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a video on my Instagram of me playing the recorder. I'm going to play Immigrant Song and the 90210 theme. And I'll do it on the podcast too. But
no, you got to do it on the podcast. This is we blew it, man. Not we. You blew it.
Me.
Yeah. You. That's what we were talking. We've hit 200 ratings on iTunes.
It's the coronavirus.
Apple Podcasts. It's the coronavirus.
It's got us all a titter.
It does. We did have one of the best reviews ever was from someone who gave us a review, and the only thing they put was the little notes because they knew that
shit. My wife just threw the recorder into the room.
Oh, well, let's go, Mike. Shit. This is it.
I don't remember how to play Immigrant Song.
Hey, Mike, it doesn't have to just be.
Okay, I got 90210. Ready?
Okay, here we go.
Oh, hold on, I'm screwing up. It's a lot of pressure, okay? Something's not working, folks. Hold on.
This sounds exactly like what a recorder
this should
sound like.
There's people listening right now being like, why are you subjecting me to the recorder?
Little known fact.
God, I can't nail it. What is happening,
Okay,
Pete?
Little known fact that the recorder was actually invented around the time of the Black Death, the plague.
Yep.
And a lot of people, because the recorder was invented, just let the Black Death happen. Because they're like, I can't stand this anymore.
Bite them.
I hate this recorder music is literally the worst thing I've ever experienced, and I'd much rather just die of a gruesome death.
Recorder music with air quotes.
Yeah.
I'm getting it wrong somehow. People are really upset that you reminded them.
Okay. All right. I think we've subjected the people enough to your
really
awful...
put me on the spot.
All right.
I didn't have a chance to practice because I forgot.
All right. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna open. You're gonna play the theme tune to you pick it next episode.
I only know 2 songs. 3. Okay, I can do Heart and Soul, which is the song they play on the piano in Big. I can probably do Hot Cross Buns. What is that?
No. Come on.
I can do 90210.
No, what about the theme tune to Magnum PI? Yeah,
a bass heavy tune. I'm gonna do in the recorder.
On recorder.
All right. Name your favorite rap song. I'll do that one too.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
And I can do Immigrant Song, but I need practice on that.
Yeah.
I can't believe my wife just threw me under the bus. Mama Buried from the top rope.
Mama Buried. Thank you very much, Mama Buried. Well, we did it. And thank you to everyone who rated and gave us and got us to 200. It was 201.
No,
Actually,
we're at 204 now.
Gosh, what's happening? This is crazy.
What are we gonna do? What are you gonna play when we hit 300? Tuba?
Ooh, well, I'm gonna think. Maybe I need to think through what I'm gonna do. I don't know. I want to do something. I mean, obviously, it would be nowhere near as humiliating as playing a recorder.
That
But
really was. That whole sequence just then, really. I'm like, if you could see my face, I'm probably blushing.
did it bring you back to high school when you would play the recorder and people would be like, "Where's Mike?"
Okay, you know what?
Recorder?
In high school, I played. Get it right. I played the clarinet
Yeah.
in the concert and marching bands, and I played the alto saxophone in the jazz band. Okay,
So you're
not
a cool
the
guy.
recorder. I used to
Okay.
have Billy Joel sheet music,
Okay.
and I crushed it. We used to play "Push It" by Salt and Pepper. I could probably do that on this.
All right. So do that. All right. So next week.
No, not right now.
No, next week. Next week we'll hear you. We'll do push it next week.
And if anyone has any requests, if you listen to this episode and you have any requests for pop songs that I might be able to play on the recorder, send them in, and maybe I'll give one or two of them a shot.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Okay. On that note,
Choke City. That was not a 2-0. Really poorly.
All right. I think we should leave these poor people alone and just say thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.
I apologize for the recorder. That was Pete's fault and my wife's fault who threw it into the room.
Thank you, Mom and Buried. We love you, and we love you for listening. Thank you so much, and we will see you next time.
Yeah, give us a few more reviews, and if you want, at 250, I'll never play the recorder again.
See ya.
Peace.
I don't know why you would still be watching This Isn't a Marvel Movie, no matter how much I look like Paul Rudd, which you can deny it all you want. It's there in the eyes, I think. I'm young looking like him. If you enjoyed the podcast, which you obviously did or you wouldn't be listening still, sign up on iTunes, Spotify, wherever you want to listen to. Comment here on YouTube, subscribe, hit that like button. We want to hear from you. Comments, questions, dirty jokes, money, all the money you can give us. We'd love it all. Catch you next time.